Hello, my name is Andrew Briggs, and today we are working on Piatti's Caprice number 1, Allegro quasi Presto. So the big challenge for this Caprice is how do we maintain this repetitive motion between two strings with our bows at a presto tempo without getting tired. And so I want to draw our awareness to how does the forearm create these circles, minimizing the motion we're creating and making it as efficient as possible. So to set up this, let's go ahead and put our cellos down and find a solid surface to sit next to. So I have one right here. I'm going to rest my elbow on this surface and bringing my forearm and hand in line. So notice my wrist stays stable so that everything's in line. And then I'm going to allow my wrist to break. And then once that's broken, it rests. I'm going to bring it back in line. And I'm just going to go between these two states and notice what is the change when I have a wrist in line and a wrist that is broken. And this is really important with establishing how are we holding our bows. So this is my bow hand, and if my wrist is broken, notice how my fingers are extended outward, and just notice what the sensation is for you, and then bring it back in line and notice that my fingers are nice and curved and supple. And so this is the bow hand that I would choose to have, is having a wrist in line so that the hand and forearm are connected. And so once we have this bow hand set up, let's go ahead and rotate our arm and bring it to a playing position level, still with the elbow supported. And this position right now, I am at the D string level. So if I'm thinking of the beginning of Piatti's Caprice number 1, we're moving between the D string and the G string. I'm going to keep my arm at the upper string level because that's going to keep the weight into the string, the natural arm weight, and then move between strings by moving vertically down to the D string. So first, before we move vertically, let's move horizontally with the forearm. So I'm moving left and right, and this is done by opening and closing the elbow joint. And just notice how your forearm is moving horizontally. Take awareness of your breath. And then let's go ahead, once we've established this horizontal movement, let's go to the vertical movement. And this vertical movement is going to be dipping down. So imagine that you're dipping down from the D string to the G string. And remember that if we keep the wrist in line, we're going to have that nice supple hand. So we're not going to do so much with breaking the wrist down or extending the fingers, but keeping everything in line so that the whole forearm is rotating down. So now once the vertical and the horizontal are really clear, we can combine the two. And a combination of horizontal and vertical creates this cross. So if you imagine a cross from how your forearm was working, you can now inscribe a circle around that cross. So I'm going to start making a circle with my forearm. And this circle can start off smaller than your cross, but then get larger as it feels comfortable. And just take note if you're moving clockwise or counterclockwise. And right now I am moving clockwise. And so once that feels familiar, I'm going to go in the opposite direction and just see how that feels. So now I'm moving in a counterclockwise direction. Okay, so let's take this motion and bring it back to our cellos. So the beginning of the Caprice we said was between the D and G strings. I'm bringing my forearm and upper arm to the D string level. And let's start off with that horizontal motion. Opening and closing the forearm with the elbow joint. Once this becomes familiar, let's go ahead and create the vertical component of the circle. And remember, we're dipping our forearm below the D string level to the G string without breaking the wrist and without using the fingers to create this motion. And notice what is the difference in motion from the solid surface to now the freedom of playing at the cello. Notice how the upper arm is now working and playing with the position of the hand. What is going on? Is it lifting and raising in the same direction or opposite direction as the hand? And just notice how that works. So we have the horizontal, we have the vertical. Let's combine it into those circles again. let's go. I'm going to go counterclockwise or clockwise first. So. Noticing that the clockwise motion creates the up bow on the G string and the down bow on the D string, which is just like the beginning of the Caprice. But let's go ahead and do the counterclockwise version just to try that out too. So this counterclockwise motion creates down bows on the G string and up bows on the D string. So we want to actually move in clockwise motion with the forearm for the opening. So let's go ahead and try the opening and see what sort of circles we can come up with. So. So, I've created circles, but we can also change what shape of circles we have. So let me emphasize the vertical aspect of the circle and see how that changes the sound. So see how my forearm is moving more up and down and vertical? And how does that change the sound? Okay, so that was more vertical. Let's now move more horizontal. Let's see how that changes the sound. So more horizontal, you can see my arm is moving more horizontally, but it also changes the sound and color of the Caprice a lot. So now I'm going to combine different sizes and shapes of circles to emphasize different musical elements that I think are important for me. So, once I've decided which circles I want to add to bring out different shapes, I can experiment and really change the color and emphasis throughout the Caprice. Some things to remember: we're not always at the D and G string. We also change to the A and D string at measure 24 and the G and C string at measure 67. So always starting with your forearm and upper arm at the upper string level, so the A string for the A and D string, and practicing those horizontal and vertical elements, finding the circles, and then also the G and C string, you're going to have your forearm at the G string level dipping down to the C string, and then experiment with the horizontal and vertical elements. So that's how I would build up the most efficient motion with these forearm circles so that you can play this Caprice and really experiment with all different shapes of circles for your own interpretation. Thank you.